Welcome to episode 32 of the Other Star franchise, the anti-fascist Star Wars podcast where a couple of Trekkies from the Star Trek fandom discuss Star Wars. We are currently watching a lot of the Star Wars shows, movies, and animation in chronological order leading up to the release of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Today, we are discussing Season 2 of The Mandalorian, which, like Seasons 1 and Season 3, all take place in the year 9 ABY. That's the year that we are stuck in for the time being, I guess. But I'm Fatheree, this is Taylor. Say hi, Miss Taylor.
Hello.
Y'all might know us from the TEX-TREK podcast. We did a show earlier today talking about some good old-fashioned Star Trek Voyager. But now we're having to switch gears to some Disney-made Star Wars from the year 2020. This Season 2 of The Mandalorian is 6 years old.
That makes me feel old.
Why does that make you feel old?
I mean, I just crazy. I feel like we've blinked and it's been 6 years.
Yeah, so there was like 6 years in between the original Star Wars and Return of the Jedi, right? Going from 1977 to 1983.
Yeah.
But here with The Mandalorian, Season 1 premiered in 2019. And so this movie is coming out this year in 2026, 7 years later.
Oh.
So, Din Djarin and Grogu had, like, a longer reign than, like, the original trilogy, or even, like, the prequel trilogy. That was from 99 to 2005. That was just, like, 6 years, and they're done. So, but we ain't done with The Mandalorian yet. And, before we talk about his other adventures, we have to talk about Season 2. So, that's where we're gonna focus for tonight. If you're watching a video format of this, then you should be able to see on screen right now the spreadsheet I always talk about. I just added a sound effect when I dropped that spreadsheet. There were people applauding Taylor. She couldn't hear it because she doesn't have the headset on. But yeah, I think I just accidentally clicked the applause thing. But it was good timing. I'm glad I did that. People should applaud the spreadsheet. If you can see it, if you're listening to our show in an audio-only format somewhere, then you can click the link in the description. That'll show you the spreadsheet, but it documents all the Star Wars we've watched in chronological order, going all the way back to The Acolyte. We did The Acolyte, we did the prequel trilogy, we did Clone Wars, we did Tales of the Empire, Tales of the... we have a Tales of the Empire to talk about here, the final one. Rebels, Andor, the original trilogy, and of course Mandalorian Season 1. But yeah, as we talk about these 8 episodes of Mandalorian Season 2, we will also talk about Tales of the Empire Episode 3, The Path of Hate, because it ties into the big Ahsoka and Morgan Elsbeth episode. I always have to stop and think and remember her name. Is it Morgan Elsbeth or is it Elsbeth Morgan? Like, I really want her name to be Elizabeth Morgan.
Yeah.
I don't know if, like, I knew someone named Elizabeth Morgan or something, but, like, that just seems like the name that's supposed to be.
Funny, because when you say Elizabeth Morgan, I think Elizabeth Taylor, and my name is Taylor Morgan. So then I go back to Morgan Elsbeth. But yeah, I think Elizabeth is like a more common first name, and Morgan is a more common last name. Mm-hmm. And so that's probably where you're getting that trip. But,
so I like Season 2 of The Mandalorian, though. This is, I think it does a good job building on Season 1. Just the thing that I like Season 1 more, because it stands on its own. It doesn't try to tie into these other parts of the Star Wars universe. Going into Season 2 back in 2020, I remember a lot of speculation. There were it was heavily rumored. I think big sites were reporting on it. Like, this is for sure going to happen. But they never officially confirmed a lot of the stuff. But it was heavily rumored Rosario Dawson was going to show up as Ahsoka. And Boba Fett would return, or Bo-Katan would show up in live action. And all of that happened.
Yeah, y'all got a lot.
The thing that surprised everyone, I never heard anyone talk about Luke Skywalker. They did a good job keeping that one secret. Huh. No idea when that happened. And that was because in every version of the script and everything, It said Plo Koon shows up there.
Oh.
Like, all the Luke dialogue in the script, it said Plo Koon. Because Dave Filoni didn't want anyone to find out. So if anyone came across that and leaked it, not only would they figure out who the leaker was, probably, but they would be like, it wouldn't even be the right information. So.
Right.
But I'm going to pop a top on this Dr. Pepper. And also on Taylor's beverage is an HEB brand sparkling water with caffeine mango flavor. Man, we're living on the edge tonight. I have a Dr. Pepper Zero with strawberries and cream. Very weird. These are like, it sounds like what people in Austin, Texas would drink, I guess.
I guess. We don't usually do the strawberries and cream version. This is a seasonal flavor.
But yeah, it's very, I feel like these drinks, they're very kind of like frou-frou, but also very Texan-y.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a clash of flavors, I guess. But anyways, before we bore anyone talking about our our carbonated beverages, let's talk about season 2 of The Mandalorian. I guess before we talk about chapter 9, The Marshal, any like broad thoughts on the season you want to say, Taylor? I kind of talked about it a little bit. But.
I still think season 1 is my favorite season, but I really do like a lot of season 2. The only thing is that since we have so many big cameos, it doesn't really feel like The Mandalorian. It feels like Star Wars. You know what I mean? So
it's almost more of an ensemble show.
Yeah.
It's still very
really
Mando-centric, though.
Yeah. Well, I really like it. I like a lot of the stories. Honestly, one of my favorite episodes is the first one. I have a little bit of issues with Bo-Katan in live action, but not because of the amazing Katie Sackhoff. It's just, I feel like she's much meaner and bitter, more bitter, I guess. Like, I don't know, or like maybe not as helpful. She's more direct.
She got her ass kicked by the Empire.
Yeah, and this makes me a little bit depressing about Bo-Katan. Like, I was hoping for a more positive future for her, you know?
At least she's not, like, setting villages on fire like she was with Pre Vizsla and Clone Wars. That was her first appearance. She helps, we actually don't see her commit any violence in that episode, I don't think, but, although she's very rude to Ahsoka when they first meet, and she slaps her on the butt. It's like, this skinny little thing. But, anywho, I just bumped our Ethernet cable. I hope it didn't disconnect us from the internet. Okay, looks like it didn't. We're good. The beauties of doing the show live. Oh, I made a note in my notes. I didn't mention it last time when we talked about season 1, but 2 things I forgot to say. I love that they do the concept art in the end credits.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow, like, I never brought that up. But yeah, it makes watching the end credits so much fun. And, the big influence of the show, Lone Wolf and Cub, which was about a samurai traveling with a baby. That like I saw the first installment of that. I guess it was a movie. I don't know. Maybe it was like a TV show. I think it was a movie. But I was watching this with my friend Jack, and it's like the samurai, and he has like this baby carriage, but it also has like tricked out weapons that pop out of it and stuff like that. But the thing that I saw is it's basically like the samurai offers the child. He's like, okay, I'm going to speak to your spirit. And, like, I think their family got wiped out or something, but he was like, okay, baby, if your spirit wants to be a warrior, then crawl over here to the sword. I'm going to stab in the ground right here. And you'll be a warrior with me, and we'll go on this quest for vengeance, you and me. It'll be a cursed life that will be hard and difficult and bloody, and you'll probably hate it. But if you choose the path of a child, here, crawl towards this, like, colorful ball, this little toy I'm going to put on the ground. If you choose that path, I'll just cut off your head and kill you right now, and then you'll get to die an innocent child, not have to go on this revenge quest with me. A very samurai thing. But he feels like those are the only 2 options.
Okay.
And the baby crawls toward the sword, and he's like, the samurai's like sad. He's like, oh, you have a warrior spirit too. I guess we're going to be cursed on this bloody journey together. And then he just goes and massacres all these bad guys with this baby with him the whole time. But that was clearly like a big influence on the Mandalorian. So I just wanted to mention Lone Wolf and Cub, because I forgot to mention it last time. Okay. All of that out of the way, Taylor, start us off with the first episode of Season 2, Chapter 9, The Marshal.
The Mandalorian has been tasked with returning his charge, a child, to its people, the Jedi. He begins searching for other Mandalorians he believes can help him find the Jedi, and is directed to a rumored Mandalorian operating out of Tatooine town Mos Pelgo. There he learns that there is no Mandalorian in Mos Pelgo, but is confronted by Marshal Cobb Vanth, who wears Mandalorian armor. Vanth explains that he freed his town from the control of the mining collective using this armor, which he bought from Jawas in the desert. The town is now frequently attacked by a crate dragon. Vanth agrees to give the Mandalorian armor back to its people in exchange for help in killing the crate dragon. The Mandalorian arranges an agreement between the villagers of Mos Pelgo and a local clan of Tusken Raiders to work together to kill the crate dragon in exchange for peace between the groups. They work together to lure the crate dragon, which is ultimately killed by the Mandalorian. He leaves with Vanth's armor, watched by a scarred Boba Fett. I almost said scared Boba Fett. I was like, that's not true. And I was like, oh, scarred. I can read.
Yeah, he was pretty nasty looking in the face with, I guess, that's Sarlacc damage, you know?
Yeah. And this one was directed and written by Jon Favreau.
Yeah, I forgot how much Jon Favreau writes on this show. I always kind of think of him as a director first. I mean, honestly, like an actor first. He used to be an actor before he started directing a lot. But now he's known as like this director, this big filmmaker. But he also writes. He scripted a lot of these Mando season 2 episodes. By the way, Ms. Rad in the TEX-TREK Discord server is commenting on Lone Wolf and Cub right now. Oh. So, but anywho, Cobb Vanth. This was really cool. He is a character created in the Star Wars novels, and then the shows brought him into live action. So it was amazing to see that. His story with the Mandalorian armor and the Sandcrawler, it's a little bit different. I don't remember exactly the details, but I remember someone pointing out that there were a few discrepancies. But for the most part, he finds Boba Fett's armor, and he's known for being the marshal in this town who's running around in Boba Fett's armor. Mm-hmm. But it was really fun to see live action Mandalorians, when the two of them are flying around with their jetpacks fighting a crate dragon. I said there were a couple times in season 1 where it did look kind of I can kind of tell they shot this stuff on an AR wall. But this episode is they're out in the desert on Tatooine. Yeah. Flying around with real jetpacks, fighting a real dragon. The dragon's the only thing that doesn't look believable to me. And I don't think you can make a creature like that look 100% realistic. Yeah.
I think it was very realistic looking, but it's because it's fictitious. It's hard to bridge that last gap. I really like the character of Cobb Vanth, and I really like Timothy Oliphant, or Oliphant. I'm not sure exactly how we pronounce his last name.
Close enough. One of those is right.
But yeah, I thought this was a really good take on a Western vibe. I like that he's already submitted to his fate, that the Mandalorian's going to take his armor or whatever, and he asks him to sit for a drink or whatever, and they're like, oh, let's talk this out. Oh, we're going to shoot it out right here? All right.
It was fun to kind of follow that process, because he's, he figures, okay, pissed off Mandalorian comes into town, sees me wearing this armor, but he's got a little kid with him, so I don't know, maybe. But just the way he's kind of working it out. But yeah, then the way that the two of them kind of grow to trust each other, and they kind of go on an arc and bond, and it kind of becomes a little buddy adventure.
Yeah.
But I never thought about this before. I'm looking at Star Wars with a more political lens these days than I guess I traditionally did. But the Mando, he's very sympathetic to different indigenous peoples on these planets, and that's because he lives on he's from a colonized world. I guess he wasn't born on Mandalore, but his people were conquered by the Empire,
right?
And so we saw that in season 1 when he tells the wannabe bounty hunter that to the Sand people, everyone else is they're the locals, everyone else is a trespasser,
right? That does come up multiple times in this season, too.
But the way that he's very sympathetic to the Sand people, he doesn't tolerate Cobb Vanth trying to trash them, and he's they raid our village. And he's well, you're fucking using the water out of their land that belongs to them, the indigenous people here. So I seeing the layers of that, it made me think how in the country of my ancestors in Ireland, there's a cultural tradition that I'm very proud of being sure to stick up for all the small countries that get bullied around and all of the the other subjects of the empire. There's a lot of solidarity between uh, Ireland and just people who've been revolutionaries against the British Empire and India or the Caribbean or all over the world, and also just other people that have been victims of empire. A lot of solidarity, especially these days with Palestine. A lot Native Americans in the United States have a history of supporting and being supported by the Irish. So I like seeing that in the Mandalorian too.
Yeah.
Before they even get to Tatooine, though, there's the opening sequence that. So the world was such a unique place between season 1 and season 2. Things had like really changed, and I was gonna mention, when the Mando is like walking up to that that fighting arena, that UFC match between the piggies, the green piggies, the Gamorrean guards, but he has like Grogu with him. And like, okay, this was around the same time. This was shortly after I got my dog Amos, and he came into my life as this little puppy I would often have to carry around. But going from season 1 to season 1 came out in late 2019. I was so enthusiastic about the world in late 2019. I was super excited that hey, there's new Star Wars that doesn't suck. But beyond that, beyond the Mandalorian TV show, I was really excited for they were about to start Star Trek Picard. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Patrick Stewart is coming back as Picard. We're gonna have like this new era of 24th century and beyond Star Trek. I was working on the Bernie Sanders campaign, and for a while there, it looked like we were gonna win the primary. Sucks that we didn't. But I just had like so much enthusiasm. And then like in 2020, we had like, the COVID pandemic, the world shut down, my identity got stolen, my dad got cancer, and I was like really worried because I had just a few years earlier lost my mom to cancer. And then luckily like my dad got better. He's fine now. So that worked out. But like things were like super fucking depressing for me. But then, like, I got, like, this dog came into my life, and I was just remembering, like, watching this, like, kind of watching the Mando and Grogu kind of, like, go on adventures together, and just how he got, like, more attached to this, like, little creature who's dependent on him, even though he's kind of a little shit. It was like, oh, yeah, I remember, like bonding with Amos, and he kind of, like, pulled me out of that kind of dark, depressed mentality I was in 2020. Like I remember, I felt so bad about so many things. My previous dog had just died, and like I just remember seeing like everyone like complaining about like COVID, about like, well, I can't go see movies, or like, well, I can't go out to the bar. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like this pandemic isn't even like my top 5 biggest problems right now. Can you please shut the hell up? I just like I had like my empathy had been like completely drained, and I was just like so tired of hearing like people complain, and just felt like everything was getting so bad. And then this episode of the show, I fucking loved it. From the opening all the way to the very end, and then I got mad when Boba Fett showed up. I was like, I don't want Kiwi Boba Fett in my Star Wars. I got over it eventually. But yeah, like that opening when he takes Grogu into, and it's like, who the hell is gonna take like a kid into this place, But he's just like, where I go, he goes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always think of that scene like whenever like I take like Amos into a store somewhere, just like when they're walking through the dark alley and Grogu's just kind of like looking around. He sees like the red eyes. It's kind of like that dumb look on his little innocent face, or like he's seeing things and like he notices things, and you can tell like the wheels are turning in his little brain.
Yeah,
that's just how I feel about Amos a lot. But yeah, some good action right off the bat, and then some great action on Tatooine. Brought back the Sand People with the sign language. You pointed out to me that they still had the binocs that they got off that dude in season 1.
Yeah, I love having the Tusken Raiders in this. Like, I think it's really fun to see our Mandalorian bridging the gap between people. I don't know. That's just like, we haven't really touched on that much, but he, like, it doesn't seem like he naturally is trying to be this way, but he somehow inspires, like, hope in people, or, like, this, like, willing to communicate. Like, he, like, for some reason, like, I don't know, maybe everyone's scared that he's gonna, like, kill them, so, like, oh, I guess it would be fine to get into this, like, tough argument and figure this out instead of, like, get shot by the Mandalorian for not getting along with everyone. But, like, I feel like most of the people he meets, he ends up, like, creating, like, this new friendship or this new space. Like, he leaves it better than he finds it, usually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. And he goes and he does, like, all these different deeds. He's kind of like the 12 labors of Hercules, or, like, I don't know, just, like, all these different adventures he goes on.
Yeah.
But they tease Boba Fett heavily in this episode because, you know, you see the armor. And I guess, like, I thought it would have been kind of cool to just, like, not have Boba Fett come back and just, you know, have the armor. Like, I kind of thought it was, like, a cool fake out.
Yeah.
And I was like, all these losers who want everything to be connected and don't want to see, like, an original, fresh story that's actually avoiding the Star Wars small universe problem. Like, I kind of like that. I was like, let's, like, troll all of the people who want Boba. But, Peli comes back in this episode.
Yeah.
So, her and her pet droids. But yeah, I don't know. It's also very Dune-like with the Krayt Dragon coming from the underground, and it was 2021, wasn't it, or 2022? I don't remember when the first Dune came out. One of those years, but I guess it was 2021.
I think so.
So shortly after this, like within a year after this came out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then Boba Fett was on right after Dune, and they have, like, spice in the desert. It was all very similar. But, I mean, that happens when Star Wars was heavily influenced by Dune from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can tell me that George Lucas back in the 70s hadn't read this big popular sci-fi book from the 60s about an emperor in space and a desert planet and people who smuggle spice and stuff like that. Those are all things that come up in that first movie.
Mm-hmm.
But we can move on to Chapter 10, The Passenger.
Okay. In exchange for information on other Mandalorians, the Mandalorian agrees to take a frog lady and her eggs from Tatooine to the estuary moon Trask, where her husband will fertilize the eggs. Due to the eggs' fragility, they must travel at slow, sub-light speeds. On the way to Trask, they are confronted by X-Wing fighters who force the Mandalorian to a nearby icy planet because he is wanted by the New Republic for his role in a prison break. He crash lands on the planet. While the Mandalorian fixes the ship, the child stumbles upon numerous eggs inside an ice cave which hatch to reveal a swarm of spider-like creatures. The Mandalorian child and Frog Lady are trapped in the Razor Crest, the Mandalorian ship, until the X-Wing pilots find them and kill the creatures. They explain that because the Mandalorian helped apprehend his accomplices from the prison break, they will drop the arrest warrant and leave him with a warning. After the Mandalorian finishes the repairs, the tattered Razor Crest takes off and resumes its journey to Trask.
You know, so the first half of the season, the Razor Crest is just getting beat up. Do you think in this episode, you know, in the opening, he's on the speeder bike coming back to Mos Eisley, and he gets those bounty hunters trip him up with that line, and he wrecks his bike, and then he has to, like, carry the what he can salvage back into town. But do you think that was there to kind of, like, foreshadow the eventual destruction of the Razor Crest? Like, he's gonna lose his vehicle?
I think that's what the show is preparing you for the whole time before it blows up, is it getting worse and worse and worse and worse, like, every episode. And then it's like, oh, it's finally fixed, it's great. And then it's like, actually, we're gonna blow it up in the next episode. So, it's kind of like an emotional roller coaster with this ship during this season.
This also was directed by Peyton Reed, who directs the Ant-Man movies for Disney as well. And they had the Ant-Man in the cantina playing poker with Peli in the opening.
Oh yeah.
And so that gets us off of Tatooine and on our way to this moon, Trask. So this kind of sets up a pattern in the show that I like. It's kind of like you are following a guy on a journey, and it's very linear, but it also tells these one-off stories. Like, the Crate Dragon adventure has nothing to do with the we're gonna stop at this ice moon because we're gonna run into the police while we're giving this frog lady an Uber ride to Trask. And then when we get to Trask, we're gonna have like a whole nother adventure there with pirates and Mandalorians.
Man, this planet, like this icy planet, reminds me of like the Rebels planet Chopper Base is on, Adalon. And also Hoth. Like, it's like if Hoth and Adalon had a baby, it's these ice spiders. Mm-hmm. But the spiders look very similar. Well,
so both those shows used the same Ralph McQuarrie design, but originally, way back in the late 70s, when they were coming up for what Empire Strikes Back would look like, Ralph McQuarrie designed these spiders that would be crawling around in the swamp when Luke is on Dagobah with Yoda.
Oh.
So... they didn't do that then, but they, like I said about every like Ralph McQuarrie design, they'll use it in Star Wars eventually. So this one they used twice.
Nice. Joel already mentioned this in the comments, but I'll read it. Grogu eating the frog kids made me anxious.
Yeah.
Same.
So
they're
those
not,
are unfertilized eggs.
I know that, but what is horrible about this is her last chance. Like, these are the last eggs she'll ever make. And so, like, what? Maybe they start with, like, 30? She's got only 30 opportunities to have babies?
Well, how many kids does she need?
Maybe 30. They're frogs. They grow fast. Who knows? But, dude, Grogu eating the eggs, I know they're unfertilized, but still, that's reducing her chance of having a fertilized egg. Like, sometimes people... Like, in real, like, humans have to, like, go through egg after egg. Like, the egg doesn't, like, make it to... like, it doesn't get fertilized, right? So, like, then the next egg is your next attempt. Like, you could, like, what is the percentage of these frog people's, like, eggs getting fertilized and hatching? Like, the whole
I guess after knowing people who have struggled with, fertility issues, it is kind of fucked up of Grogu.
Yeah.
But I feel like that distinction has to be made. Like, he's not eating baby frogs. He's eating... eggs.
Yes, but I don't give a shit about the babies. What I care about is how that makes Mother Frog Lady feel. Like, she just went from the opportunity of possibly having 30 opportunities to have kids to now having, like, 15 opportunities. So he's severely lowered her odds of a fertilized egg.
But she's a goofy frog lady
I don't give a shit.
Who jumps around and has a funny frog tongue.
She deserves to have as many kids as she wants, and Grogu is stealing her babies. Her future baby possible.
I would say the adults shouldn't have had the eggs accessible for the little kid.
Yeah, they should have, I guess, had a fucking lock on it with a code or something like this. I mean, I guess he could still use the Force to open that, but still. Absolutely horrible. Very bad Grogu. This was like the least I liked the child during the whole series. Like, I was on board with the kid the whole time until this episode. I was like, this one needs a spanking or something. Like, he needs to learn some manners and not eat people's potential babies. That was weird to me. I was more on board with him eating live frogs. But then this leads to him, like, going to eat these spider eggs. And he's like, nom, nom, nom. Like, god dang, like, this kid just wants to eat babies.
I remember...
ate a... spider baby.
I remember being on the edge of my seat when the spiders start crawling towards Grogu, and then that chase back to the ship.
Yeah.
And then all through the ship into the front cockpit, and then finally the X-Wings show up to help out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Kilm's convenience guy.
And Dave Filoni.
Yeah, and Dave Filoni. Who the X-Wing pilot Dave Filoni plays is named Trapper Wolf. So, surprise, surprise. When I discovered that the other day, I made the joke to Taylor. I said, do you think Dave Filoni makes his wife call him the big bad wolf?
Who knows?
But anyways, we also have a new X-Wing pilot who becomes a recurring character in the show, who also plays the dad in the Canadian sitcom about a Toronto-based Korean family-owned grocery store, Kim's Convenience.
Yeah.
Recommend. Pretty funny.
But yeah, they beat the shit out of the Razor Crest in this episode. It really just, like, broke in half. It was very Titanic break when it dropped down.
It was kind of neat to be... Okay, like, this doesn't really make sense from, like, a science, physics perspective, but I don't care. Star Wars physics. This is all fantasy story. But, like, at sublight speeds, they can still travel from solar system to solar system. Like, even going less than a speed of light, it takes over a year to get from our solar system to the next closest solar system, but it's like 3.4 light years away, right?
Yeah.
Alpha Centauri. But I don't care. As Star Wars physics, maybe the speed of light is faster in Star Wars.
Or did they say for sure he was leaving the system?
Yeah, because they said like Trask is like a couple
one
systems over. Or
okay,
no, they said it's one sector over.
Yeah, so I was thinking it was close, like maybe going from Earth to like Mars.
Well, it can't be in the same solar system because it doesn't have two suns like Tatooine.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
So, the journey there, though, at sublight speed means that they're very vulnerable to, I guess, pirates, marauders. He was talking about, like, it's really scary to travel that way. But you also get pulled over by the cops. And we see, like, the New Republic. They said that they're cleaning up Imperials.
Yeah.
So, I guess at this point in the Star Wars timeline, I guess Mon Mothma's Supreme Chancellor. And they have, like, the New Republic military, and I guess, like, one of their big focuses is doing these Outer Realm patrols looking for pockets of Imperial remnants that haven't surrendered.
Yeah, they've been pushed out to the Outer Rim.
Yeah. I think at this point they do have, like, an armistice with some of the Imperials, though. So you have, like, these different pockets of Imperials for people who care about the bigger universe stuff. But as for the story, I like seeing, like, there's some good tension there when he's, like, getting pulled over by the cops and they're talking to him on the radio, and then, like, they switch to their private channel, and then they pop out lock the S-foils in attack position. Anything else about the passenger, though?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, that brings us to Tales of the Empire, actually. We're going to switch shows and talk about the only remaining Tales episode we haven't discussed. I think this is the very last one of all three of those shows. But the Path of Hate. This is the final episode in that 3-episode Morgan Elsbeth story.
After the fall of the Empire, former Corvus citizen Nadura returns as an ambassador of the New Republic. She demands that Morgan step down as magistrate due to her mistreatment of the locals, and allow Corvus to join the New Republic. Morgan, who has received a vision that she believes is key to the future, kills Nadura and begins burning down Corvus's forests. Before she dies, Nadura sends a distress signal to Bo-Katan Kryze.
Yeah, so after this episode, when we see... what's the name of the planet? Corvus? Mm-hmm. When we see Corvus in live action, the forest is burnt up.
Yeah.
So we know this takes place first, but also we get to see Morgan Elsbeth being the evil Imperial Magistrate. You know, it's really funny. I'm glad that they made these Tales of the Empire episodes. At one point in time, I thought, like, oh, what an odd character to focus on in Tales of the Empire. Like, you don't want to do, like, I don't know, young Tarkin or, like how Callus joined the ISB. I just felt like there's all these more interesting people to focus on. But I love how much... seeing her as like a former Night Sister, and it matches up with what Ahsoka will eventually tell us about her in this show, that her planet, her people were wiped out in the Clone Wars, and it made her want to become this militant Imperial. But it was just cool that, like, oh, I didn't realize it was the Night Sisters, Ahsoka, kind of burying the lead there.
Yeah.
But, anywho, she's like, this guy Din Djarin, if he didn't know who the Jedi were, I'm not going to sit here and explain the Night Sisters. Like,
she's like, that's too deep in the lore that I want to go into.
He can go read Wikipedia on his own. But, what do you think of the Path of Hate?
You know, this is the first time I've seen this and thought, maybe the New Republic is not that great. Like, it's kind of just doing the same thing that the Empire was doing. Like, we see that a lot in The Mandalorian, too. But, like in this situation where Nadura, like, comes back and she's like, you have to step down as magistrate, and we're gonna take this over as part of the New Republic because you suck. And, like, granted, she does suck, and she should step down. But also, like, that's exactly what the Empire was doing. They were like going to planets, raiding them, telling the staff that they got to step down, or the government, whatever, to step down. And then they place someone else in their spot.
Yeah, like we see Tatooine in the Phantom Menace, and it's, it's controlled by the Hutts. It's outside of the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the Clone Wars, they have their big Outer Realm sieges where they, I guess, capture all those Outer Realm planets. And then we see, Rebels, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and everything. It's like, it's under Imperial rule.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, the people there probably want to be liberated,
yeah, for sure.
but I don't want to fall into this is the argument that dumb shits and dishonest people will make about going to war with Iran and be like, oh, the people there want us to go, they want to be liberated, so they're okay with us triple tapping a girls' elementary school and blowing up a bunch of kids and medical workers that are trying to respond to a bunch of kids being blown up. So, I don't want to be maybe they want to be liberated by the New Republic, but, the New Republic didn't send, a bunch of, stormtroopers. They sent, a diplomat. They sent, an ambassador.
From that planet, too. But still, it just gave me a little bit of an ick. I was like, ugh, I don't like this.
But I don't like that Morgan Elsbeth, works her people to death.
No, I obviously don't either. I'm just saying there's parallels here.
But yeah, it's cool to see the New Republic trying to, I don't know, just send out these guys in the blue uniforms and do things. We don't really see the New Republic, because in The Force Awakens, their capital gets blown up in the first movie of the sequel trilogy. And so we go back to there's no government, no one's in charge.
Yeah.
I think that would actually be an interesting. I think a post-sequel trilogy could explore a very interesting status quo with what if there is not a big central government established for a while, and then what happens? I'd kind of be curious to see them explore that maybe someday. But we also have that character Ming, who I don't even know if we knew his name from the Mandalorian episode. But the dude who spoiler alert, in this next episode of The Mandalorian, it ends with him becoming, I guess he becomes governor of the planet again.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like he's mayor of the town, but it's also
yeah.
Oh, I think he's in charge of the entire planet. Is it just this one town?
It may just be that, one spot, who knows?
But he is in a couple of these Tells of the Empire episodes, and he was the guy who, in The Path of Anger, when Morgan Elsbeth goes to, present to the Empire, I want to build these advanced TIE fighters, even though they'd be really expensive, they'd be really good. And Thrawn was the one who's kind of interested in her project. Mm-hmm. And then Ming is so disappointed when she comes back victorious, and he's like, oh no, she did it, we're all going to be working for her. But then in The Path of Hate, you see him connect with his friend Nadura is the ambassador.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Nadura dies, sending the distress call to Bo-Katan, who shows up in the next episode of The Mandalorian. Anything else on The Path of Hate?
No.
Okay, then let's move on to Chapter 11 of The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 3, The Heiress.
At Trask, the Frog Lady reunites with her husband, and they direct the Mandalorian to a local inn where he can find information on other Mandalorians. A fisherman offers to take the Mandalorian to others of his kind, but on board the fishing ship, he is ambushed by the fishermen who want to sell his armor. The Mandalorian and the child are rescued by 3 Mandalorians led by Bo-Katan Kryze. She enlists his help in seizing weapons from an Imperial freighter in exchange for information on the Jedi. After boarding the freighter, Bo-Katan reveals that their main objective is to capture the ship along with the weapons for their war effort to reconquer Mandalore. The Imperial captain is instructed by Moff Gideon to crash the ship, but his efforts are stopped by Bo-Katan, who questions the captain about the Darksaber. The captain kills himself. Bo-Katan directs the Mandalorian to meet the Jedi Ahsoka Tano in the city of Caladan on the forest planet of Corvus. With the Razor Crest partially repaired, the Mandalorian and the child continue on their journey. Oh yeah, this is when the Mon Calamari repairs the Razor Crest, and we get some nice fishnet repairs. It's literally, instead of it being band-aided together, it's fishnetted together.
I mean, he parked it. The Mando parked the Razor Crest, and then I think he says he gives that guy 1,000 credits.
Yeah.
But it'd be like, okay, he parks it, and then he gives that guy is like, man, like, I don't even know if this thing will ever fly again. And the guy who owns it gets out, hands him $1,000,
Do what you can.
and says, yeah, do what you can. He's just like, I'll put gas in it.
Yeah, that was really funny too, the way that he came in so hot, because the Razor Crest was fucked from that ice planet. So, like, he couldn't, like, slow down fast enough. They're all panicking except for the Mon Calamari. He's just watching in disappointment as he terribly flies in. And then this reminds me so much of the Pirates of the Caribbean of Johnny Depp's Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh, when his first appearance.
His little boat like just makes it to the dock, but it's sunk because the Razor Crest lands and then immediately like loses balance and falls into the ocean. And the Mon Calamari like tisks and like shakes his head in disappointment. Yeah. It's really funny.
Yeah, it's very much like that Pirates of the Caribbean moment. Yeah, it was a great little character introduction there. And I like this Mon Calamari guy though. He's funny. It's a very watery planet, so there's a lot of Mon Calamari and a lot of Quarren running around.
Oh yeah, and they look a lot like Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean. They have like the wiggly beard.
Yeah, so we saw some of these guys originally. They were one of the Return of the Jedi aliens. You know, that movie gave us so many Star Wars aliens, but there were some Quarren on Tatooine of all places, like in Jabba's palace.
They'd shrivel up there.
But now in this modern stuff, they make like the tentacles move. They didn't move in the old days. But there were maybe one or two times that I thought they got like a little carried away. It's like a little too much. Like I'm okay if Star Wars aliens look kind of like rubber masks. Like Grogu does, and we all just kind of accept it. But I think it is like a nice touch to add like that little movement. Reminded me in Star Trek Enterprise when they used to have the moving antennae on the Andorians. In the modern Star Trek, like Hemmer's antennae moved one time in Strange New Worlds, and like that's all we've seen them move. And I don't know, maybe in Lower Decks, they probably moved there. Yeah, but everything's animated in Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm tangenting away from the heiress.
Yeah, this is a really fun episode too. I love that the frog lady gets to reunite with her husband, and they do get to fertilize their little egg things.
We see their baby at the end.
We see their success, and Grogu gets to babysit, and he learns, I think, that these eggs were going to be children. I don't know if he still thinks that maybe they're food.
I don't think he really gives a shit.
I don't know. He's weird. But I love all the Mandalorian stuff that happens too. Like the surprise Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
But like them taking off their helmets and then him just being like immediately pissed.
So Taylor, I know you pointed out that you don't make it as big of a deal to remember all this stuff in real time as you're watching these episodes for the first time and try to like remember all your reactions. Like I get a little carried away sometimes reminiscing about like the first time I watched this. But the first time you watched this, if I understand correctly, this would have been your first introduction to Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
So when I watched it, like I had seen all of her Clone Wars except for season 7 that hadn't come out yet, and I had seen her Rebels stuff too. So I knew that at one point she was going to like lead this fight against the Empire, and then we don't really find out anything about it. Although, based on season 1 of the show, it didn't go well. But it was a thing where I was watching with subtitles, and the captions spoiled it for me. It says, like when Bo-Katan lands on that boat, and and her other guys are with her, and they start fighting the pirates. It was, like, the captions, like, labeled it, like, Bo-Katan. I noticed now on Disney Plus it just says woman. Oh. And they saved the reveal for it. But, I mean, not that really bothered me. It's pretty quick after that, it's Bo-Katan.
I also feel like her helmet is so easily recognizable. Like, if you've seen Rebels and you've seen Clone Wars, like, her helmet specifically looks like an owl.
It's impressive that she aged so gracefully, especially compared to, like, how Luke and Leia age in the Star Wars universe. If you look at them in their 50s, and, like basically, like, Luke and Leia in The Last Jedi are the same age as Bo-Katan in this.
Well, some people just age differently, and that's okay.
And I've said this before, but my headcanon is that, like, she's a politician. She wants to be, like, ruler of Mandalore again. Like, like, she, like, invests in the cosmetics and makes sure that her face looks good. It's, like, it makes sense for someone of her station to do that. Palpatine would do the same thing if he... Yeah, I think he's, like, beyond repair, though. So he cheats and uses the hologram filters.
Yeah.
But, but, yeah, it's not much different from that, I guess. But it's like she wants to appeal to people and get like this big following of Mandalorians again. And that's like a thing for her in this episode, but she doesn't get along with Din Djarin because he's one of the fanatical Mandos. She calls him a child of the Watch, right?
Yeah.
So he is rescued by Death Watch in those
Yeah.
season 1 flashbacks. So, but Death Watch took their helmets off. So it was there like
this is a new Death Watch.
So, yeah, so it's like a faction of Death Watch.
Yeah.
That they're like, we keep our helmets on always, forever. Like, even if you're hooking up with a crazy Twi'lek chick at some point before season 1, you still have to keep the helmet on. But, yeah, and he's like, y'all are fake Mandalorians, and they're like, you're a weirdo fanatic Mandalorian.
Yeah, I like that she calls it a cult.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's accurate, actually.
I kind of, you know what I want, like, future Jedi to be? In, like, some, like, future Star Wars thing? What if, like, the Jedi split off in different factions?
That would be awesome. Then you can choose which one works best for you.
And they could have, like, clashes with each other and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be a cool thing to explore in a post-sequel trilogy story. This episode also had the chowder that Grogu eats in the beginning.
Oh yeah, with the octopus or squid that like
Yeah.
launches itself to its plate. I like that Mando's like, don't play with your food.
But it's scary when that Quarren bastard throws Grogu down there to feed him to the sharks or whatever.
Yeah, to the scary monster in the boat.
But they have that assault on the Imperial ship at the end of the episode when Din Djarin teams up with Bo-Katan and her 2 helpers. That guy is named like Axe Woven, and I forgot what her name is, but her 2 little sidekicks that follow her all through season 2. I liked the action though going through that cargo ship.
Yeah. It had some good humor in it too. Like whenever the guy was like, "Oh yeah, we've locked ourselves in the cargo bay," and he's like, "You've done what?" And then they all get sucked into space.
And so they're doing this because the Mandalorian wants to find a Jedi, and he's been looking for a Mandalorian to help him find a Jedi. He's like, other Mandalorians will help me travel through the network.
Mm-hmm.
And so all season 2, he's looking for other Mandalorians. We get here to episode 3 of the season. He finds some Mandalorians, and they're like, we actually know a Jedi, but for us to tell you where to find this Jedi, you have to come do a side quest for us. It is very video gamey, but I like that. I think it's a good structure.
Yeah.
But Bo wanted the weapons, the Imperial weapons off of that ship to help in her quest to... What was she trying to steal?
She wants to retake Mandalore.
Right, but what did she want on this Imperial ship?
They had all kinds of weapons on it. And she wanted a ship itself.
Right, and that's how he appeals to her later to help him go after Moff Gideon for his ship.
Yeah. I just had a little bit of an epiphany, though, when we were talking about this, because the armorer says, like, oh, well, go find other Mandalorians, like Mandos help Mandos kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know what she does not prepare him for? That there are other Mandalorian subcultures that they don't agree. She didn't prepare him for the denomination classes.
Yeah.
So I think it's hilarious. Like, this reminds me of, like, when the Amish let their teenagers go out into the wild and live a public year.
Springer.
They have like a whole year or something that they can go do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they get to decide if they want to come back to the Amish community or if they want to live differently. And that's kind of what the Mandalorian is going through. Like, the armor is like, okay, well, go find other Mandalorians. Go learn about the world. Like,
well, she gets pissed when she finds out he took his helmet off.
Yeah.
Spoilers for season 3.
But yeah, I like the action in this episode a lot, and I liked Bo-Katan and Mando kind of like coming together at the end. Like they kind of, I think they have like a mutual respect by the end. It's like, well, thanks for helping me with my task, and good luck on yours. You know.
Yeah, they mentioned the Darksaber again. And we see Moff Gideon on the hologram. He orders that captain to kamikaze the ship.
Oh yeah, that was dark. And he had that like electric tooth killer.
Yeah. Well, we can move on to episode 4 of season 2, chapter 12, The Siege.
The Razor Crest requires further repairs before it can reach Corvus, so the Mandalorian and the child take a detour to Navarro, where they are reunited with their allies Cara Dune and Greef Karga. While the Razor Crest is being repaired, the Mandalorian is shown how much things have improved on Navarro since he was last there, under the stewardship of Karga as magistrate and Dune as marshal. The last challenge they are facing is a remaining Imperial base, which the Mandalorian agrees to help them destroy. They discover that the base is being used as a laboratory by Dr. Pershing to conduct experiments with the child's blood, which has a high M count. They destroy the base and are pursued by stormtroopers on speeder bikes and TIE fighters. Dune and Karga manage to stop the speeder bikes while the Mandalorian destroys the TIE fighters with the repaired Razor Crest. The Mandalorian and the child leave for Corvus unaware that an Imperial spy has planted a tracker on the Razor Crest for Moff Gideon.
So this episode kind of ties into the
cloning.
Yeah, the rise of Skywalker with the Emperor's Project Necromancer stuff we saw expanded on in the Bad Batch. So Pershing would seem to have some big connections to that, or at least at this stage in it.
It is interesting, though, that this would still be ongoing after the Emperor is quote-unquote died. So, like, either they still have the Emperor's blood and someone else out there is wanting to create, like, Palpatine again. Because we think Palpatine that Vader threw off of the Death Star 2.0, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's dead.
He died, but he's able to make his Force ghost appear...
Force ghosts again.
In well, okay, so a Sith can't come back as a blue glowy, but they can like haunt a particular place, like where they died.
Mm-hmm.
But so I want to read the book Shadows of I forgot what it's called. It's not Shadows of the Empire, but it's called Shadows of something. But it's supposed to explain. It's like a book to explain the rise of Skywalker and make it make sense. I've read about this book. And a lot of the stuff it does seem to help. I mean, I'm still not crazy about Palpatine coming back, but the way it worked is they were making these cloned bodies that his consciousness, his like Force consciousness, he couldn't inhabit these bodies, but whenever he got in one, it would start aging and deteriorating and turn into wrinkle face ugly Palpatine very quickly and like disintegrate. Then you have to get in another one. So in that movie, he was like trying to like possess Rey at one point to try to have like a permanent body. But, so I guess yeah, they're just trying to make, like, a better body for him, or I don't know. I don't know what exactly is going, or maybe that stuff has already been completed for Palpatine, and this is just Gideon. Because Gideon is basically trying to, like, genetically alter himself to become strong in the Force, okay. I think is what he's trying to pull off here.
Gotcha.
Because he likes to conquer Mandalore and take their Darksaber and their Beskar, and then he wants to like conquer the Jedi and take their Force powers. He's very colonial like that. Mm-hmm. But this whole episode, them going into this base and driving out the remaining Imperials on Navarro. This was actually Gideon's plan. Did he leave this detachment there knowing that Karga and Dune would call on the Mandalorian to help, and then he had his spy plant the tracker on the Razor Crest, one of the dudes doing repairs?
Very likely.
So yeah, Moff Gideon, pretty clever. It's not that different from Tarkin putting the tracker on the Millennium Falcon and then following it to Yavin, though. Kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But, what else happens in this episode?
When the three are driving away from the Imperial site and Karga's like shooting down like tanks.
Great action sequence. Yeah. Oh, this episode, it was it's another one written by Jon Favreau, but it was directed by Carl Weathers.
Oh, cool.
Greef Karga himself. And we see like how the town has changed. And then we see it again in season 3, and it looks like even better. But here's like such an improvement over season 1.
Yeah, they plop Grogu in school.
Yeah,
that was pretty cute.
No, I like just plugging him into the classroom, even though he's being a little shit, stealing other kids' snacks.
Yeah, he needs to be fed more. Apparently, they need to just have a snack pack.
He doesn't have like a regular eating schedule. I don't think he just like eats whenever the Mandalorian is like near like a restaurant or something. Like then he'll be like, okay, you can eat now.
Poor thing. The Bad Batch did better feeding Omega.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it's fun to see them storm the base, and then it's a really cool action sequence, that chase at the end, and then the ship battles of the Razor Crest versus the TIE Fighter. That's a really riveting ending, and the speeder bikes look so cool coming down the side of that cliff. I don't know if I have anything else to say. Oh! One last thing. At the end of the episode, when you see Moff Gideon and that young woman who is serving on that Imperial ship he's on and like following his orders and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Her uniform is very First Order-ish. It's like you can see that they're and she even mentions when she talks to the guy who bugged the Razor Crest, like, you'll be rewarded in the new era. So she's going to become part of what becomes the First Order.
Yeah. Couple more things. We didn't touch on Dune being Marshall. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Carson shows up because he's chasing the Mando, and he comes by and deputizes her.
Yeah.
They were gonna make that. They were gonna do like a whole spin-off show about her.
See, that's what I keep saying is Mandalorian season 2 is the spin-off season.
It really is, I was commenting on how The Mandalorian reminds me a lot of what was happening with Star Trek in the early streaming days. But you know how Star Trek Discovery came out in 2017, and then they released season 1, and then when they did season 2, they put in all these spin-off possibilities. They had Giorgio doing Section 31 because they wanted to do a Section 31 spin-off. Mm-hmm. It took them forever, but eventually they did that. But Strange New Worlds was set up in that with having Anson Mount as the substitute captain and basically like audition to be the lead on a Star Trek show. So we see that with The Mandalorian season 2. They set up the Cara Dune show, which I didn't want like a cop show in Star Wars, starring a transphobic asshole, who then like really doubled down and became a big shitty cry bully, and culture warrior. So glad that didn't happen, but the possibility was baked into this season. Also, Ahsoka.
Bo-Katan. Like they
the Book of Boba Fett. Like the last thing of season 2 is the teaser for the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. But like even I think like having Bo-Katan in this had the option for if they wanted to explore like another Mandalorian story, which I think ends up being season 3 more than Bo-Katan's own story, but you know. What else? I think I'm ready to move on to the Jedi. Are you?
Yeah, so, okay, here's a big episode, Chapter 13, The Jedi, written and directed by Dave Filoni.
Woo!
Because it's starring the character he created.
His child.
Yeah, so tell us what happened, Taylor.
The Mandalorian and the child arrive at the city of Caladan, on Corvus, to find the population living in fear of the city's magistrate Morgan Elsbeth and her guards, including a hired mercenary named Lang. Elsbeth offers to give the Mandalorian a spear of Beskar steel in exchange for killing Ahsoka. The Mandalorian finds Ahsoka outside the town and presents the child to her. Using the Force, Ahsoka determines that the child's name is Grogu and that he has begun training as a Jedi before the rise of the Empire. She agrees to continue his training if the Mandalorian helps defeat Elsbeth. They overpower the guards, free the citizens, and the Mandalorian kills Lang. Ahsoka confronts Elsbeth and demands to know the whereabouts of her master, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Afterwards, Ahsoka refuses to train Grogu due to his close attachment to the Mandalorian. She directs them to an ancient temple on the planet Tython, where Grogu can use the Force to find other Jedi and decide his own fate. She also gives the Beskar spear to the Mandalorian.
Yeah, so this is a cool through line we can follow with Ahsoka, but she is looking for Ezra Bridger.
Yeah.
Like, that's why she wants to find Thrawn.
Right.
And we now know that she's like really good friends with Bo-Katan after retaking Mandalore together in season 7 of the Clone Wars. So Bo-Katan gets the distress call from the diplomat in that tells the Empire episode, The Path of Hate.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bo-Katan, I guess, tells Ahsoka that, like, oh, one of Thrawn's minions is stirring up shit on this planet. And then that's why Ahsoka is here, on, like, her quest to find Thrawn.
Right.
But this was a big deal because it was the first time they had mentioned Thrawn in live action. So it was a fun surprise. I think when this episode came out, I think I was complaining about, like, it was a little too specific to certain samurai movies that, like, Dave Filoni was pulling from. But
it also feels very Princess Mononoke.
Oh, with the forest being destroyed by industry.
And, like, the big scary lady in the big tower.
Yeah. Joel is pointing out Michael Biehn is in this episode, and I was going to mention it's another one of those cool guest stars they're able to get in The Mandalorian because so many people love Star Wars, from the dad in Kim's Convenience to Kyle Reese from Terminator, and he was also Hicks in Aliens.
Okay.
But it was speaking of, like, the Japanese thing though, him and the Mando, they're like this. It's like a classic samurai story, but sometimes when you have two samurai that are facing off against each other, and one of them is serves a master who's a real piece of shit, but for samurai honor code, you're supposed to if you accept a job, like, you're supposed to, like, do that job. It's dishonorable not to. So you're actually a better samurai and a more moral samurai and a more honorable samurai if you're able to carry out the orders of, like, this really shitty evil person who's hired you. Which, it seems like such a weird thing, but you can kind of understand the logic there. And you kind of see that with this Michael Biehn character, I think, or at least that might be how he would look at it. But yeah, they're kind of like these, mercenary... these mercenary Old West gunslingers, but they're also kind of like the bounty hunters are just kind of like these samurai that can be hired by a local lord to do whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, the way that she even offers, like, the Beskar to him to go find the Jedi, and he's careful to, like, never agree to anything. Like, he might ask something like, where would I find her or something, but he never says, like, okay, yes.
Yeah.
But Ahsoka bonding with Grogu. I really want to like the Rosario Dawson Ahsoka more than I think I do. But I don't know. Maybe by the time, like, we get done watching the season 1 of her show that we're gonna watch soon, maybe I'll come. It's just this is the first time we've gone from animated Ahsoka to live action Ahsoka, and so it was a little jarring.
Well,
this wasn't as bad as, like, the Grand Inquisitor, but
true. I think it's like, again, it feels like it's because it's such. The reason that I think I feel out of touch with Bo-Katan and Ahsoka in this is just because it's a big time jump, and so they're very different than we expect them to be.
There's growth that we did not see,
and I think that can be jarring for an audience whenever it's like, oh, we've had, I guess at this point, like at least 10 to 15 years with Ahsoka since Rebels, right? And then with Bo-Katan, about the same. So, like, they've learned and had issues and struggled, and, Ahsoka is probably out fighting Inquisitors and possibly rescuing a bunch of Jedi children, like, from the Inquisitors. And I think that...
Is that what she was doing?
That's what we're headcanoning.
Okay.
And I think if that is what she was doing, Because she mentioned that was what she was going to do in Rebels. You remember, like, at one point, whenever Kanan... It was a 3-minute a baby episode.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, like, well, I'll deal with this, and I'll keep tracking down these Inquisitors with these baby
Yeah, but then
things.
she got, like, world between worlded 2 years into the future. But I guess she goes after the Inquisitors then.
But I think that could be something. And I think that could even be, like, a big reason that she doesn't want to train Grogu.
So, like, okay, if I remember Ahsoka correctly, I think in the first episode she is fighting an Inquisitor. So yeah, maybe that is like her fighting like the last Inquisitor, and then she goes on her quest to find Ezra Bridger, which brings her here.
Yeah, it
so,
could
okay.
be. But
she becomes like the Inquisitor. She's like, bitches, I'm gonna go hunt y'all down.
Yeah,
see how you like it.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that if we're headcanoning that Ahsoka was, like, the Jedi going after the Inquisitors and the Force-sensitive babies that the Empire were trying to steal, then we can think maybe Ahsoka feels a lot of guilt that she missed Grogu somewhere along the way. And I think that kind of explains a lot of, like, her actions when she refuses to train Grogu because of his attachment. Because we know that Ahsoka isn't she is not anti-attachment. Like, she's... in theory, you know what I'm saying? Like, but she doesn't want to be responsible for Grogu.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, but she did say that, like, he's too attached to you. It'd be dangerous to train him.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, she is still pretty fresh from feeling like. I'm sure that scar will be there for a very long time, but like that her master and her most supportive person and.
No, she says, brother. Like, I've seen what that kind of attachment can do to even, like, the greatest of one of our knights, right. Or something like that. She's
talking about Anakin.
But yeah, without a doubt.
So I think she's kind of been scared backwards in her growth story and that.
After Rebels, after that lightsaber fight with Vader.
She's like, maybe Yoda and Obi-Wan do understand something. But I think that's the wrong direction. I think she's just, But then we see that Luke has this same... issue, kind of like, well, not the same issue, but like this desire to be so much like the Jedi Order and follow the Jedi Order rules or whatever, that it causes him issues with his new batch of Jedi or whatever. But like, they gotta do their own thing. That's what I've been saying. Like, they just need to, like, okay, we'll take the Jedi lore, but let's not impose anything too soon, like, let's test some waters here and see what works. Because obviously the Jedi Order fell, so... anyway. Live action Ahsoka doesn't bother me at all. I really like Rosario Dawson's portrayal. I like how mature Ahsoka feels and still really badass and still compassionate. The one thing that bothers me, and I know they've already addressed this, like, in their sit-down, like, documentary series for The Mandalorian, but it bothers me that her tendrils aren't super long. Like, we see them very long, like, down to her hips, I think, in Rebels. Yeah. And then it's, like, they're right at her shoulder length. Like, it looks like she's a teenager again. And that kind of doesn't sit well with me. But I know that they already explained that they couldn't do that headpiece or something like that for like, a lot of the action scenes that didn't work.
But yeah, that was a common complaint. And I'd prefer if they were bigger. That's not a huge deal to me, but I can understand it being a big deal. It's just kind of like her voice and her cadence isn't quite what.
That's what I'm saying. She's been beaten down over these last few years, I think,
Well, anything else on this episode?
Yeah, I like her confrontation with Morgan Elsbeth.
Oh, that's a cool fight. Yeah, Beskar versus white lightsabers. Yeah, that looked awesome. Oh, it was also crazy, like, how it was... Okay, this was kind of like a speculated episode. I remember, like, people online being like, Filoni wrote and directed episode 5, so that's probably going to be the episode Ahsoka shows up in, if she's actually in it. Because they still hadn't officially said it. And then, like, immediately in this episode, as soon as the recap ends, it's Ahsoka in the forest spinning around with white lightsabers. Yeah. If you had read the Ahsoka novel, you knew exactly who the fuck that was.
Yeah.
Because that's when she gets the red lightsabers from defeating an Inquisitor.
Mm. Yeah.
Ming becomes mayor or maybe governor at the end.
Or new magistrate, I think.
Yeah, whatever he is. Okay, yeah, magistrate. But good for him, a likable guy. Oh, he was cool. Like when he kind of helps Mando.
Yeah.
Yeah, likable guy.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good action in this one. And this is also a classic, like, savior story, like, save the day thing. This feels a little Clone Wars or Rebels to me, like that, like, go in, infiltrate, and then make it a better day for everybody, you know?
Yeah, and, like, I love this show's ability to tell these one-off stories, this adventure of the week type shit. The things that, like, classic Star Trek was known for, all the legacy Star Trek shows would, the Planet of the Week format. Like, I love The Mandalorian doing that. And I've said it before, but I would have been fine if we never got any answers, if we never found out why the Empire was after Grogu, if we never even, like, found out his name or Din Djarin's name and, like, never saw him under the helmet. Like, it was just, like, these two fools go to a planet and they get in some trouble and then they get out. And just a different thing every week. I would have watched that forever.
Yeah.
But of the story that they tell, though, and, like, the story that they tell in Season 2, I also think that, like, the end of Season 2 would have been a great place for this thing to end. But
super agree with that.
And I'm not, like, a Season 3 hater. I'm very looking forward to rewatching Season 3 because I've only seen it one time. But I just thought it would have been, like, a kind of a powerful, satisfying ending at the way that they wrap things up here. But anyways... we got a whiles to go before we get to the ending, though. We got to talk about... the next episode is The Tragedy. So, yeah, this kind of starts the trajectory towards the season finale. But, Taylor, tell us what happens in Season 2, Episode 6, Chapter 14.
Yeah, that's confusing.
It is. The Tragedy.
Okay. The Mandalorian takes Grogu to the ancient temple on Tython and places him on the Seeing Stone at its center. Grogu meditates and is surrounded by a protective energy field. Boba Fett soon arrives with the mercenary Fennec Shand, who the Mandalorian had previously left for dead on Tatooine. Fett explains that the armor worn by Cobb Vanth belongs to him, as his father Jango was a Mandalorian foundling. The Mandalorian agrees to return the armor in exchange for the safety of Grogu, just as Moff Gideon arrives and deploys stormtroopers. Fett, Shand, and the Mandalorian repel the stormtroopers' attack, during which time Grogu finishes meditating and the energy field around him disappears. Gideon destroys the Razor Crest from orbit before deploying his droids, the Dark Troopers, who succeed in capturing Grogu. To honor their deal, Fett and Shand promise to help the Mandalorian get Grogu back. They travel in Fett's ship, Slave One, to Navarro and ask for Dune's help in breaking criminal Miggs Mayfeld, out of New Republic prison.
Hey, speaking of classic Star Trek, this, like that episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, this is like, oh man, like, they shot this out in California on typical Star Trek planet.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely California. Also, this one's directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He's a local.
Lives here in Austin, Texas.
And written by Jon Favreau.
Like, almost all of Season 2.
Yeah. He did a lot of heavy lifting in the writer's room, I guess. Lots of things happen on this. I really love Boba Fett, like, stalking the Mandalorian in the beginning. Like, you think it's going to be, like, a really big shootout at first. They kind of have, like, a mini fight.
When you see the Slave One show up.
Yeah.
It's, like, it's so cool and ominous to see it coming in for a landing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I really like Fennec Shand being alive and with Boba Fett. Good stuff. I like that she's part robot now.
He rearranged her guts.
Yeah. Oh, gross. You don't need to say it like that. But yeah, they have a good team up, and I was expecting there to be, like, more tension between Boba Fett, Shand, and the Mandalorian, but they handled that really well.
It was weird to me how, like, because she didn't seem like a very honorable person when we saw her in Season 1, so it was weird to me when she was like, I owe my life to Boba Fett, and I'm loyal to him. But then, like, at the end, when I see them, like, sitting on Jabba the Hutt's throne together, I was like, oh, they're close.
Oh.
So,
oh, you think they're, like, an item?
Yeah.
Okay.
But... I liked her showing up here too, and it was cool that, like, she's showing off her sniper skills, but, like, it's, again, like, she's so hateable early on because she has Grogu in her scopes.
Yeah.
So that's weird as hell.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, somehow by the end of the season, we still forgive her. But they're pretty honorable, Boba Fett and Finnick, because they're like, oh well, I guess we kind of interfered when they tried to kidnap your kid, so we it's on us to help you get your kid back.
Yeah.
Because they're like, give us that armor and we'll spare your kid, but then like he got kidnapped, so
Yeah.
it's like, well,
Guess we have to continue this
yeah.
deal. For sure.
But yeah, good on them.
Man.
A bounty hunter is only as good as his word, I guess.
Yeah. The Razor Crest getting destroyed by Gideon was a surprise. I like gasped when that happened because I forgot that happened.
Speaking of Star Trek, though, as like the thing that's like almost as big of a deal as killing a character is destroying a ship.
Yeah, especially when it's like the home of the Mandalorian and Grogu. Like we've seen them bond so much there.
Like it would be like if the Millennium Falcon blew up.
Yeah.
Or like if the Ghost in Rebels blew up.
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty big. But yeah, they kind of held their own there. There's some good battling. Like Shand is such a good shot, and they all work together so well.
Boba Fett,
picking off the stormtroopers.
Boba Fett's action was so cool. Like when he starts off with the gaffy stick.
Yes.
And I love that. We'll talk about this more in the Book of Boba Fett. But like Tamora Morrison was able to like build some of his own
moves.
Well, some of his own like Maori.
Oh, okay.
Stuff. Like they do stuff with sticks, I guess.
Okay.
But I'll look more into it before we talk about the Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, but I love this Boba Fett. I've said before, like I kind of think of him as a different character than the guy from The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Who's the tall, skinny Clint Eastwood cowboy type. You know, this guy, but this guy is like this like big like Samoan warrior. Like he's like a lot of people were making fun of how Tamora Morrison looked. They were saying like he's like fat Boba Fett. They're saying he's like Boba Fat.
He's not fat. He's thick. He's
yeah.
all muscle.
But he looks so cool in like the black robe and then like the green Mando armor.
Yeah.
And then is this the one where one of these episodes he shows off like every weapon that he has?
One.
Like
it's also because he gets dressed for the first time. And I complained because I wanted him to have the stick with his suit, and for some reason he dropped the stick once he got the suit back. I was like, oh, you should have both.
Oh yeah, but yeah, it's cool when he's like smashing the stormtrooper helmets with his stick. But yeah, then when he gets the Mando gear, he has the wrist rocket, the knee darts. He fires the rocket out of his jetpack. Those are all weapons that in like that old Star Wars reference book from the 90s I have. Like I have like the picture of Boba Fett. It would like point to like all those things and label what they were.
We looked
like,
at that together recently.
Yeah, so like Robert Rodriguez was like looking at that and be like, I'm gonna use all of these.
Hell yeah. But also like think about the context though. Like he just had to argue with the Mandalorian that he knows this armor. That's his dad's armor. That's my armor.
Yeah.
He is like, I'm gonna put that shit on and show him that's my goddamn armor. I know how to use it. You know, like Cobb Vanth, it was too big on him. And, like, he could kind of use it, but he wasn't, like, super good at using the Mandalorian armor to, like, full effect. Yeah. And you can see the difference of, like, Cobb Vanth wearing it versus Boba Fett wearing it with full confidence and comfortableness, you know?
Yeah. And we also find out a little bit more lore on Boba Fett. So in the Clone Wars, remember Prime Minister Almec on Mandalore? Mm-hmm. He told the Jedi that, I don't know where Jango Fett came from or how or why he had Mandalorian armor, but he's not really a Mandalorian. But this establishes that, like, Jango was a Mandalorian foundling.
Yeah, I like that.
But Boba Fett does not identify as a Mandalorian.
Right. He is a clone, but he is Jango's son first.
That's the only thing he identifies as, is like the son of Jango Fett.
Yeah.
That's like his only loyalty is to his dad.
Yeah.
That he watched Mace Windu behead.
Ugh, God. Such a tender age.
But, yeah.
But Yeah, it ends with us back on Navarro recruiting Dune. I love when a show can do this too and go back to all of the characters that they've dropped off along the way and pull them into like the final arc.
They did
Because
that
this
in
reminds me of
season 1 too,
Rebels.
though. Yeah.
Well, remember in Rebels when they were going to free Lothal and Hera goes around and asks all of Ezra's friends to come help them?
Yeah.
It feels like that.
Yeah, and it was like, we figured out it was like pretty much everyone in the show that like could have possibly have been there for like, canon reasons or whatever. Like everyone was there.
Yeah.
But I feel like they also did this in season 1. It was kind of like, let's get Quill and Cara Dune and then finally Grief Karga all together. Yeah. So it is a little derivative, but I think it is like even more badass this time. Like we have like Mandalorians with jetpacks. Like
in season 1 though, it's a little bit more begrudgingly. Like they don't want IG-11 there. They don't like Karga comes in like trying to take down the Mandalorian and switches sides. So like he's not like on board immediately. You know what I mean? Like to me the team up was only the Mandalorian, Quill, and Dune. But in this one, every single person that's like, the child is missing, is like, hell fucking yeah, we're going after that kid. Yeah. Like, we know how much it means to you, and it's adorable. We're going for it.
Yeah, so Cara Dune, the Marshal, agrees to come along and help recruit Mayfield. Bill Burr, who, that was kind of a big surprise. Oh, he's going to be a recurring character. Kind of unfortunate that somewhere in the Star Wars galaxy there's a planet where everyone has a Boston accent, but I guess there is. But yeah, Taylor, tell us about the mission to free Mayfield in Chapter 15, The Believer.
Dune uses her new credentials as a Marshal of the New Republic to transfer Mayfeld, an ex-Imperial, from prison to her custody. He agrees to help locate Moff Gideon's cruiser, but needs access to an internal terminal. He suggests a secret Imperial mining hub on Morak. Once there, Mayfeld and the Mandalorian hijack a transport carrying the explosive mineral rhydonium and manage to reach the mining facility despite attacks from local pirates. They acquire Gideon's coordinates from the terminal, but the Mandalorian is forced to remove his helmet in front of others for the first time since he took his Mandalorian oath. The pair are confronted by Mayfeld's old Imperial commanding officer, whom Mayfeld kills when he gloats about atrocities committed by the Empire in Operation Cinder. Mayfeld and the Mandalorian escape with the help of Shan, Dune, and Fett. Dune decides to let Mayfeld go. The Mandalorian sends Gideon a transmission warning that he is coming for Grogu, paraphrasing a similar speech that Gideon had previously given. Written and directed by Rick Famuyiwa. Hope I didn't butcher that too bad, but not written by Jon Favreau.
Yeah. Don't worry, the next and final one is.
I actually really dig this episode. This might be one of my favorites of the season.
Yeah, it does so much in a pretty short runtime.
Yeah. It's, 30-ish, 35 minutes-ish?
Yeah,
again,
38.
This also shows that New Republic using prisoners for free labor. They're out there busting their ass in, like, this junkyard with a droid, like, with a laser stick. This is, like, kind of scary to see. It's like, oh, okay. So we saw that happening to Cassian, like, working with, like, the threat of shock if you don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, explain that, Mon Mothma.
That is very odd to me. Like, this still feels very, like, bad.
Do better, Mon.
I don't know. Or maybe there's, like, this whole subculture of, like, the prison thing that we just don't know about. Maybe it's not free labor. Maybe he's, like, working. It's, like, optional. It's like, oh, you can work if you want less time. Or you can work and you can get this salary or something. Like, who knows? But,
yeah.
It doesn't go into it. But it gave me the ick again. Because I was remember with that Tales of the Empire episode where they're, like, trying to take over other places. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It's really cool to see the Slave One so much. Like, again, something I used to look at in those reference books. So there's also, like, the cross-section of ships books. But yeah, it's just cool to see basically the Slave One be the hero ship of an episode. But it also did, like, a lot of cool stuff in the previous episode, the tragedy, like when he followed Grogu and the Dark Troopers up to Gideon's ship, you know?
Yeah.
And then we get more of that here, like when it uses its sonic weapon thing at the end.
To blast the
which
tires.
I used to like always roll my eyes at and attack the clones, but then here, like I thought it was like fucking cool when it took out the two TIE fighters.
I love the sound it makes. It's so satisfying.
But Mayfeld, you know, he's a pretty despicable character in season 1, but here he kind of redeems himself. I never would have thought he would become a sympathetic character, but
yeah, they do a good job with his little redemption here. That is a very emotional scene when they're in the mess hall and he sees his previous commander. Because at first he's like panicked.
Yeah.
He's like, absolutely not. I'm not going in there.
That's so believable. Like Bill Burr, he kind of always plays this wise ass, but then like there he was like he was able to play that convincingly as like you know, seriously panicked and freaked out.
And for good reason, this guy sucked.
I thought he was a little hammy, though. He was like a little too cartoonishly evil.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But there was a lot of Imperials like that in the original trilogy, so they just kind of lean into that.
I feel like at this point, if you're like that, like, of course you're still working for the Empire. Like, it's like, okay, the Empire has quote-unquote, like, been dismantled. It's been overthrown, like, by the New Republic. But there's, like you said, like, these pockets of Imperial people. Like, the only ones left are going to be the fucking crazy ones.
Yeah.
You know?
The extremists. Yeah.
You
know, this kind of happens after wars sometimes. Like, after the Civil War, there were some Confederate renegades who kind of, like, went maverick and wanted to start their own rebellions. And then, like, eventually got wiped out. Yeah, it's also kind of reminiscent of a lot of U.S. military bases in Iraq. There would be you know, a lot of personnel you know, driving supplies, driving like trucks back and forth between bases. Who would you know, it was like a way that a lot of insurgents would attack, would be on these like these truck routes.
Yeah.
On these supply routes. So. But there's an old French black and white movie. Maybe Chris or Joel in the live audience might know what I'm talking about. But it's a French movie about someone like hauling a truck full of nitroglycerin, I think, or some explosive, and they can't go too fast, but also like someone's trying to like attack their truck or something. It's supposed to be like this real suspenseful movie. Mm-hmm. They mention it in Star Trek Enterprise, by the way. It comes up. That's a really exciting sequence, like the Mando on top of the... Oh, it's called Wages of Fear. Thank you, Joel. Like the Mando on top of the truck.
Yeah. I actually thought it was an amazing action sequence, but I actually thought it was super unbelievable for the Imperial people. Because what stormtrooper or whatever Empire person is going to be doing all that?
Well, they said none of the other trucks made it back.
I know. So, like, wouldn't that be sus as hell to be like, why does this one person care this much about getting this Rhydonium in here? Like, everyone else keeps failing and getting blown up. How come this ship just survived? And they're not, you know, like, his skill level is just, like, far superseding, like, all of the troopers or whatever. But, like, I'm just saying, if I was, like, the Empire and, like, your troopers are getting blown up, like, all the time and, like, no one's showing this level of, like, motivation to survive, like, it would be kind of crazy to be seeing your trooper hanging off the edge of the truck and on top of the truck and flipping people off and then blasting them off, like, you know, like, it was a lot going on. I'm surprised they were just like, oh, y'all did such a great job, congrats on making it, I believe that y'all are totally troopers.
Well, I thought the bandits that attack were pretty formidable foes for the Mando, so I really liked all that stuff, and it looks so fucking good. Like, you know, it's hard to believe they shoot so much of the show on the AR wall. Like, this stuff feels like so real. But
yeah, I was a little bit sad about the local pirates being killed by the Mandalorian, because, like, honestly, I think he'd be on their side in a different situation.
Yeah, they're just raiding the Empire. Right. Like, good for them.
Yeah, and he can't do his typical, like, spiel here. Well, we just need to get over there so that we can actually blow them up. We're actually here to help you. Like, we want the same thing as you. But they can't they don't have time to like explain all of that to them, and he ends up just having to kill them all, and that really sucks.
It's very subversive too when the TIE fighters come in to help them make it into the base, and the TIE fighters start shooting at guys. But yeah, it's like it's so weird for the TIE fighters to be this welcoming sight like that.
Yeah.
But we also have the sniper girlies in this episode.
Oh, I love the team up. Dune and Shand take the high ground, and they're just picking people off one by one. That's so intimidating. And I love how well they communicate with each other, and they pull that in again in the next episode.
You know, it really makes Mayfeld seem like the sniping badass when you have like here's these two sniping badasses having a sniping badass off competition the whole episode, and then he does like the coolest shot at the end when he takes out the Rhino canister that blows up the whole base. So that's kind of, you know, when you have like it's like Wedge. Like Wedge always has to be like doing like really cool piloting stuff, because if Wedge isn't a great pilot, like what's the point of Wedge, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like if Mayfield, this great sharpshooter, if he's not like a great sharpshooter, then why say he is?
Yeah. I like that everyone was only met with admiration with each other in this, though. Like, I didn't feel like it was a competition. Like, Dune and Shan, when they're picking people off one by one, they're like, nice shot, nice job. And then when they get to the ship and they're impressed by him, they say, way to go, that was fucking badass. And like,
yeah, you're right. It's not even competitive.
It isn't. It's like encouraging, because everyone has
like a talent
skill.
show.
Yeah, exactly. And I liked at the end when Cara Dune is like, oh, too bad Mayfeld died over there. Like, that was such a good ending. Like, because she thinks about it, you know, and she was very like not on board to bringing this guy onto the, you know, mission.
Yeah, because she hates Imperials.
But she realized, oh, he hates Imperials too. Like, he's an ex-Imperial for real, you know? And I like that he says, like, yeah, I had a lot of shit to get off my chest, you know? And that made him feel better to blow up all these people who were such shit to him in that Operation Cinder and, like, killed so many of his friends.
Oh, Operation Cinder, by the way, comes from one of the video games.
I was going to say, I saw when I lingered over Operation Cinder, it has, like, the Battlefront 2
so in the
video game.
The story campaign in that game, it's basically, the Emperor had this, like, in case of my death plan, like, go destroy these planets and do this and this and this, and a lot of people were massacred in that. There was like this real bloody year, like following Return of the Jedi, where Akbar commands they start calling themselves the New Republic. I believe, like after the Emperor blows up, they start calling themselves the New Republic instead of the Alliance to restore the Republic. But there's a year after that where they're still at war with Imperial forces. But yeah, Operation Cinder was part of that. But I don't have anything else to say. I guess the Mando's cool voicemail he leaves Gideon at the end.
Yeah. What'd you think of him having to take his helmet off?
Oh, yeah, that was really cool how they made that such a big deal. And then that also really helps the audience kind of forgive Mayfeld when Mayfeld is like...
I didn't see your face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it also shows, like, how desperate the Mandalorian is to get the child back.
Yeah.
Like, this is literally, like, his breaking point. This is his absolutely, I never will do this. But there he is, having to do it for his kid, you know?
Yeah, and it was so weird that these two guys who, you know, they used to do, like, hardcore mercenary missions together all the time in the old days.
Right.
And they were probably all, like, unlike how people are in this episode, they probably were competitive.
Yeah.
And always having, like, these dick measuring competitions. And then
always making fun of him with the helmet, too.
Yeah, but then, like, here, they're both so vulnerable in front of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's kind of a weird. It's
you
almost
know-
kind of like a weird bonding experience
I was gonna
they
say,
go on.
this is that thing though of the Mandalorian, like he's a bridge and like he connects with people because Mayfeld literally was so scared to go into that room and he saw the Mandalorian take off his goddamn helmet that he's probably bitched about and made fun of like for years and years when they worked together. Like, oh, you never take off that helmet. And like even when they did their heist together, he was like, you know, bitching about his helmet stuff, you know, like, oh, you even left it on during, you know, when you were with her, like, they're always bitching about it. So for him to, like, be nervous and not want to go into that room, and then seeing the Mandalorian literally conquer his biggest fear, like, not even fear, but, like, pass his biggest line, like, I think that changes Mayfeld. Like, he's like, well, if he can do it, I can be brave, you know?
Yeah, that's
and like,
cool.
Like, he walks in there when he sees that Din Djarin is at risk of being outed by that commanding officer guy, but he like jumps right in and has the story and all the lingo and like how to try to get out of it. You know, he fakes like the hearing impairment to get him out of trouble.
Yeah,
you know,
he was a solid bro.
Yeah, he was on his game.
Yeah, the show does this a lot, but it's kind of Dave and I talk about how in old school X-Men comics they would do this all the time, but they would introduce characters as bad guys at first, but then they would become good guys.
Yeah.
You know, Dragon Ball does that. You
yeah,
know.
Piccolo was a big one.
Yeah, Vegeta, like damn near all them people when Goku meets them, they want to fight him. Yeah.
Even Boo becomes
yeah
part of the team.
Yeah. But I guess that's everything for chapter 15, The Believer. So let's move on to the 8th and final episode of season 2, chapter 16, The Rescue.
The Mandalorian and Dune board an Imperial shuttle and capture Dr. Pershing. They enlist the help of Bo-Katan and Kosha Reeves to rescue Grogu. In return, Bo-Katan will get Gideon's cruiser and the Darksaber, while the Mandalorian considers helping her liberate Mandalore. They use the shuttle to get close enough to crash land on Gideon's cruiser, with Fett pretending to attack them in Slave One. Bo-Katan, Koska, Shand, and Dune fight through stormtroopers to the cruiser's bridge. The Mandalorian finds the Dark Troopers, barely defeats one of them with the Beskar spear, and ejects the rest into space. He fights Gideon with the spear and overpowers him, making the Mandalorian the new rightful owner of the Darksaber. The Dark Troopers fly back onto the ship, but are all destroyed by Luke Skywalker, the Jedi that Grogu contacted on Tython. The Mandalorian gives Grogu permission to go with Skywalker and R2-D2 to complete his training. In a post-credits scene, Fett and Shand travel to Jabba's palace on Tatooine, where Fett kills Bib Fortuna and claims the throne. And this one was written by Jon Favreau, directed by Peyton Reed.
So, this is a really fucking awesome episode.
Yeah, it is.
I think the entire time we've been watching The Mandalorian, I think I was looking forward to seeing the Jawas in episode 2, and then looking forward to seeing this episode here.
Yeah.
But I forgot how much I enjoyed the action in this episode. But it is so fucking good when they board the ship and start kicking ass, and are just like mowing down stormtroopers left and right. And I love the Mando girls. I love Finnick. I love Boba Fett in the Slave One. They're doing a Rebels tactic of pretending to shoot on a captured Imperial ship.
Yep.
It's another capture a Lambda shuttle. It's really easy to do. But Dr. Pershing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see him again. I love like when they go and get Bo-Katan, and it's just seeing the 3 ships in the parking lot: the Lambda shuttle, the Slave One, and one of Bo-Katan's Mandalorian starfighters.
Oh yeah.
It was like, oh, look how cool the fucking parking lot is in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, that was good.
But the Dark Troopers were pretty cool. The first time I watched this, I remember being very weirded out by some of the musical choices. Like, I wasn't sure if I was like, I don't know if this is Star Warsy enough, but like, it's eventually won me over. The music in this show is really fascinating.
Yeah, it's different.
But it also covers such a wide range. Like it can have everything from like a Spanish guitar to like these kind of like dubstep beats to almost kind of a hip hop vibe, and then like very traditional orchestral stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
I like whenever the dark troopers are punching the walls.
Oh yeah,
and that turns into the music. Like
so
it's the same beat.
Mechanical, yeah, and then like the music becomes mechanical.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I really love the girly team up in this with Bo-Katan, Koska, Shand, and Dune fighting through all the stormtroopers getting to the bridge. One, they have amazing communication. Like, incredible. Like, this is, like, exactly what I would imagine if you had these four badasses together. Like, they call them out. They're like, I'll take that one, you take that one. And then, like, something happens, and they, like, kind of look at each other, and they, like, already have a plan formulated. And, it just shows, like, their longevity to fighting, you know, like, how long they have. It doesn't really require them all to have worked together for very long because they all already understand strategy and fighting.
You know, Peyton Reed is good at action. Like, I think he was more known for, like, a comedy guy, but, you know, I know, like, you're not the biggest fan of the Ant-Man movies, but there's, like, some, like, I'm thinking of the first two specifically. There's some very memorable action sequences in those that, but yeah, I forgot how damn good a lot of this stuff was. But I just loved I love seeing stormtroopers taken out.
Yeah, they had some really cool ones in this episode. I like when they get to the bridge and it's revealed that Gideon isn't there, and that forces, like, it changes their plan. The Mandalorian ends up having to fight off Gideon because Bo-Katan basically said, "Leave that bitch for me," and that didn't happen.
So, do you think as soon as that Lambda shuttle in Slave 1 showed up, do you think Gideon knew what was going on?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I think if you want to go with that theory that he's trying to make himself force sensitive, he could have a little bit of, like, spidey senses. But also I think he's like,
Well, he does say, like, when Din Djarin makes it to the brig, he says, like, just assume that, like, I know everything that's going on.
Well, and
he knew, like, every weapon that he'd already used and everything.
Yeah. To be fair, though, in the last episode, the Mandalorian sent him that message. It was like, "I'm coming for you." So, like, if you sent me that threatening message saying, "I'm coming for you," anything out of the normal, I'd be like, this could be it. This could be it. This could be it. It could be today.
The way that the TIE fighters launch out of the cruiser, and also the look of the Dark Troopers, both are very Battlestar Galactica to me. Which I know you haven't watched, but they look like both the old school Galactica and the new school Galactica that have Cylons that, like, there's bad guy robots that look kind of like these things, and also like the way that the starfighters launch out of the ships in that show. It's kind of like how the TIE fighters take off out of this thing. But I guess, like, the big deal in this episode that everyone always talks about is the Luke Skywalker appearance.
Well, I love that they've made it all the way to the bridge, and now it's like, oh shit, all those goddamn dark troopers are back. Like, they thought they were done with that, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's like, they set up this great impending doom. Like, shit, like, we did so good. Our plan worked all the way up till here, and now we're like, SOL.
Yeah. Like, you think that, like, okay, they're gonna win when Din Djarin wins the sword fight against Gideon. But then the Dark Troopers come back.
Yeah.
And they're fucked.
Yeah.
Until this one X-Wing shows up.
That was so exciting to see the X-Wing come in. Because also, you know, it does kind of set up through the series that maybe that guy is going to be the one that pops in, the one that pulled over Mando.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, he's, like, those are the two
gonna be
people.
Carson.
Yeah, and, like, what's Carson going to do?
Yeah, what's the dad from Kim's Convenience going to do?
And, like, he doesn't respond on the transponder, which is funny, like, again, Luke with the dramatics, I guess. But, or R2-D2 being like, you know what would be funnier is if we just show up and, like, tear everything up. Like, we just won't even respond.
They probably thought there were Imperials on the bridge.
Oh, okay.
So.
But, yeah, I love when he comes out of the X-Wing, it's like that big flowing cape, like, all the way down. Like, it's so, I love that they keep the dark look of Luke.
His Return of the Jedi look is so cool. Yeah. Everyone loves that.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad that he can stay on the light side but still be dressed like someone who looks like they were on the dark side.
Yeah, Jedi Master Luke is so cool. I know Joel in the audience is a big fan of the original Thrawn novels and Heir to the Empire, but I love how that author Timothy Zahn wrote Jedi Master Luke, just kind of a continuation of the Luke you see in Return of the Jedi, the confident Jedi Master. But yeah, and he beats up a lot of droids.
Yeah, tears them up.
But it's, everyone also compares that to Vader in Rogue One.
Yeah, it's a good parallel. It's like, see what Vader could have been. He could
have
been doing this shit.
Yeah, if Annie had stayed a good guy.
Yeah. I also love that they had the Mandalorian fight one of these earlier in the episode, so you could see how formidable.
Yeah, how terrible one can be.
And Luke comes and cuts down like 35 of them.
Yeah, it's like the power scaling is really cool.
Yeah.
And then the way that Gideon's not force sensitive, but he was still good enough to. Well, I guess a lightsaber maybe gives you a few advantage points over a Beskar spear.
Yeah.
But he was still able to fight a Mandalorian.
Yeah. I like seeing Grogu sense Luke when he sets foot on the ship. Like, there's like that little moment where you can feel that Grogu knows who that is.
Yeah, like they connected through that stone previously.
Mm-hmm. What a weird thing. Luke could have been like pretending he had Yoda on his back or something, like had like or maybe he was like tuning R2-D2 and he just gets like this mental telepathy phone call from this kid somewhere out in another galaxy or something. It's like, come get me. Yeah, he could have been up to anything. Oh, okay, so he fights his way through all the dark troopers and they're all on the bridge together. And what's his name? Not Karga. Moff Gideon. He tries to like commit suicide. He's like, well, I can't be caught.
He tries to assassinate Grogu first.
Right.
Or no, he shoots Bo-Katan first.
Yeah.
Like he has like a hit list. He's like, well, I don't want her to become ruler of Mandalore. Is priority 1. Priority 2, if I can't have Grogu, no one can.
Yeah.
And priority 3 is I don't want to be captured by Luke fucking Skywalker.
Yeah.
The guy who walked into the throne room with Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader, and then he was the only one to walk out of that throne room alive.
Yeah, he's like, oh,
fuck
hell
that
no.
shit.
And he also definitely didn't want to give up any secrets to the Jedi.
Yeah.
Or to Cara Dune, right? Like, because he is ex-ISB, but also still Imperial. Something like that. And, and he's terrifying. But, I wanted to say, too, I loved R2-D2 coming in at the end there, like, beep, 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 like, all excitedly. Yeah. And you made a good point. You're like, oh, does R2-D2 recognize Grogu from being at the temple together, like, when they were kids?
Right, because Grogu would have been at the temple during the Clone Wars,
right,
when R2-D2 was Anakin's droid.
Yeah. So I feel like that is actually very likely. I think that's cool. But R2-D2 seemed really ecstatic to see Grogu. He was kind of sweet.
Yeah. So, but yeah, sad to see Din Djarin and Grogu say goodbye to each other.
It's a see you later.
But he took his helmet off to say goodbye, so it was a big
touching.
deal. But like, it was this arc that I guess started when he took the helmet off to be healed by the droid.
Yeah.
When he was like, oh, it's healing to get close.
Yeah. And honestly, like, his helmet was removed in the last episode. So, like, he's already broke the rule. Like, what's one more time?
Right. He's like, I'm already an apostate.
Yeah, he's like, I'm already going to have to answer for this. Does it really matter if 5 people have seen my face or 10? So.
No,
but oh, sorry, I was gonna say Mayfeld brought up a good point though in that episode. Like, is it that he can't take off the Mandalorian helmet, or he can't show his face, and how that's a big difference. You know, because when Din Djarin is wearing like the stormtrooper helmet,
it's like, yeah, he starts crossing the line.
Yeah.
And then once you start crossing the line, then where do you stop?
Yeah, exactly. That was such a good conversation.
Yeah, it's weird that Star Wars would take like someone sworn to wear a helmet at all times, like, but then they learn to take off their helmet. Yeah. It's just like, that's such a stupid story, but they take it so seriously. Yeah. I love that Star Wars does that.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that, as much as I love Andor and think it's the best thing that I ever expect to see from Star Wars made in my lifetime, it doesn't quite scratch this itch of the just the stupid shit taken so seriously, like a mother frog trying to get back home with her jar of eggs, or someone who's taken an oath to always have this bucket on their head.
Yeah.
But the CGI Luke face, a lot of people have commented on this over the years.
Yeah, the quote-unquote, like, deep fake one that came out right after this was really good. I think it worked better with Tarkin in Rogue One because he's such a stoic character. Like, he doesn't have big facial movements. But Luke is a drama queen. So it's weird to see his face so stoic and his mouth just move, like, up, down, up, down, up, down. Like, I think they nailed the look. It was really just the mouth movement. And, like, he's so expressionless. And I think that that's not who Luke is. So that's what feels off.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that it was well done enough. I know it gets better in season 3, so.
Yeah, so we'll see that again. And then I guess he shows up in the book of Boba Fett, right? That's when we see Din go get Grogu.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking,
so,
not season 3.
Yeah, we'll see that within the next couple of days, I guess.
Yeah.
So, the episode also has a post-credit scene of, and I so loved this. It was a nice surprise when this came out. But Boba Fett going into Jabba the Hutt's palace, and it's fucking Jabba the Hutt's palace. You see the outside, you see the inside.
Yeah.
Bib Fortuna, fat on the throne. He took over after Jabba, and then like this big, large, and in charge Boba Fett gets to sit down and be the big guy on the throne.
Man, they do such a good job of making Boba Fett feel threatening in this show.
Yeah.
More so than anything we've seen.
Like when he's talking shit to Bo-Katan in this episode, when she's like, "You mean your donor?" When he says, "This is my father's armor."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Take that armor off right now." And he's like, "This is my father's armor." And then she's like, "You mean your donor?"
Yeah.
And then she's like, "I've heard your voice 1,000 times."
Yeah, that was good.
And then he's like, "You might hear it for a last time." But
I in the post-credit scene, I think they make I almost said Bo-Katan. But Boba Fett have such a good stalker, like, predator energy. Like, when they're coming in and attaching, like, the way that they set up the post-credit scene, it's like, here are the 2 sons, dun-dun. Here is Jabba the Hutt's palace, dun-dun. Here's the stairways coming down into Jabba's, like, throne room, dun-dun. And then it's like, Shand and Boba Fett, like, come in there, and it's like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you know what I mean? Like, it's very, like, prey and stall, like this, like, slow build, like, into it, You're like, what's gonna happen? They do so much with this show, with just visuals and the music. It's incredible. And, like, he stalks the Mandalorian also, like, whenever he's hunting down his armor. Like, I think they just do such a good job of making him seem like a threat.
Yeah, and the setup for the Book of Boba Fett, it was like a really just pleasant surprise. I think the show disappointed a lot of people. I remember thinking it was just okay, but I think it kind of ended on a sour note for me. I didn't really like the final episode, but
I honestly don't really remember anything about it. I've watched every single one of the Boba Fett episodes one time when they came out, and then immediately forgot about them.
We're about to see them again.
So, you have any other last thoughts on The Rescue or Season 2 of The Mandalorian?
Just that when this originally aired, the way I interpreted it was that this was like the end of the Mandalorian, Din Djarin and Grogu, and then I thought like, oh, like the next season is gonna be like the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, and I was like, oh, cool, what like a great place to end the story of Din Djarin and Grogu. But then there was like another season after the Book of Boba Fett. The Book of Boba Fett was just like this other show all on its own. So, and I don't know, I am looking forward to revisiting season 3 of The Mandalorian because, like I said, I've only seen it one time before, and I know a lot of people were disappointed in it, but I don't remember thinking it was like that big of a drop off in quality. But I don't know, maybe it is.
I really struggle with season 3. I feel like everything happens but nothing happens. Like, it's such a weird, like, I can't remember a single thing that happens except the Mandalorian beast, like mythosaur.
The mythosaur.
Yeah, like that's the only thing I remember. And I remember Bo-Katan being like kind of a bitch on the throne room, but that's all. And like that's all I remember. And I remember being so put off by Bo-Katan's
Lizzo and Jack Black showing up.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Yeah.
What about Christopher Lloyd?
I don't remember.
Well,
yeah, so we'll see how we feel.
I
might
guest
like
stars get a little silly.
I might be more into it going in this chronologically, but I always agree with you. Like season 2 feels like the end, and like season 3 definitely should have been like the Bo-Katan spinoff, and they should have just like relabeled it, not had the Mandalorian in it, like just follow Bo-Katan and do the spinoff that they maybe set up with that, with the Mandalore conquering. And it's like they tried to do that, but they wanted it to still be the Mandalorian, and I feel like that's what didn't work. Is it's like, I don't know. There's a lot that we'll get into it though when we watch it.
Okay, well, next up will be the Book of Boba Fett. I think going forward, we are going to try to stream on Tuesday and Friday nights.
Yeah, I think we're back on normal schedule. We caught up so that we could finish everything by May 22nd. We have our tickets for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chris, you mentioned going to see the Mandalorian and Grogu. We're going to see it at, I think it's the 1 p.m. showing at the Bob Bullock IMAX here in Austin. But I guess anyone in the area,
come see it with us.
Come see it with us, yeah.
It's the biggest IMAX theater in Texas.
Maybe, I don't know if this movie will be any good or not.
Yes, May 22nd at 1.
Yeah.
It is a matinee because we like matinees. We were going to go see it Thursday night, but that was unavailable. So.
Yeah. Book of Boba Fett coming up next, followed by the Mandalorian Season 3 and Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew, which we will see for the first time. And then the evening of May 22nd, we plan to stream our reactions on the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah. I will definitely need to see it multiple times before having a very informed opinion.
Well, it can be like a first reaction.
Yeah. Because also I won't have captions. That severely hinders me at the movies.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we have a caption option there.
Yeah.
Well.
But anyways, looking forward to that.
Yeah. Oh, we're also going to, we need to go finish watching the Darth Maul show. So we're going to try to do that this weekend, too. We need to watch the final 3 episodes, but.
Yep.
We'll talk about that at some point after The Mandalorian and Grogu. But I think that will do it for tonight.
Do it.
Do it. But thanks everyone for watching live, or anyone watching or listening later. Until next time, remember, the Empire is for bootlickers. Be a rebel, and may the Force be with you.